Okay, it's being recorded. So where we left off previously, taxonomy items was one area that we didn't get to. And the taxonomy items, just to give you a little background, basically this is what drives our content from the editorial perspective. It's basically the keywords and items, and I'll bring up the front end just so that you can get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So when an editor creates an article, they can select from several areas of what we call taxonomy or subject items to help bolster its relevancy as well as dictate where it appears on the site with relation to the topic pages we've created. So if you look at like the script homepage, for example, and we can just take a look at this article, just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about here. And if this will load, it's a little on the slow side. And this may be because I'm actually viewing it, the front end, on the same browser that I'm actually using the content editor on, which is a known issue. The environment, the PMBI domain shares a cookie or cookies, and that can create some conflict when you're functioning within the same browser in terms of the back end as well as the front end. So what we've instructed editors to do is use one browser for their content editing, if you will, within Sitecore, which we've recommended Firefox, and then use another browser for viewing the front end so it can keep their session logged in and things like that. And again, the reason for that is because there's a shared cookie. Now this doesn't impact customers because they're not accessing the authoring environment, but it does make life a little difficult for our editors. So that's something that it's one of those issues that you may want to keep in the back of your mind. Getting back to the taxonomy, you'll see that there's topics that are selected, industry tags. This is primarily the area where the taxonomy is. If there's regions or if it's region specific, their content, that would also be listed here. Occasionally, we may get requests to add a taxonomy item. This particularly occurs when they want to create like a hot topic. So for example, we had the recent US election, we had the Brexit stuff that was happening, so they wanted to create an additional taxonomy item. So we'll get a request from typically a managing editor to go in and create a taxonomy item for that. And the area that you update that in is located under the environment globals in Sitecore. And if you scroll down, you'll find a folder called taxonomy. And there's also a publication taxonomy. This is more generic for generic use across all publications, as well as so there's like media type icons and content types and things like that that are more generic. So you don't really need to concern yourself with that. What you're looking for is the taxonomy folder. And we've actually done a project to clean a lot of this up recently. The taxonomy itself we've documented in our wiki. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. So we do have on the Confluence page a section devoted just to taxonomy that lists all the changes that we've done recently with respect to regions, subjects, where they're being used primarily for which publication, and then therapy and device areas. And then these are controlled within Sitecore in this section under taxonomy. So the regions is something that is pretty much set in stone now. So we've done a lot of cleanup there. It's the subjects where we may add a custom taxonomy item or subject. So I mentioned Brexit before. There was the US election, which was another one. So these are all areas where we may get a request to the web pubs folder, or it should come through ServiceNow, and that is where we would make those changes. And to add a taxonomy item, it's pretty simple. You right-click on the subject folder, you click Insert, you click on Taxonomy Item, you enter the name of it, and then when it creates it, and typically it puts it alphabetically, you may want to go in and just confirm that the item name is correct. And that's pretty much it. And then you save and publish. And then that taxonomy item will then show up within the plugin when they go to enter that information via the article information window, which I believe we've covered previously. But I would have to create a new article to show you, but I think when we've gone over it in the past, it's pretty obvious where that's located once they've created an article and can go in and edit it. So again, most of the cleanup has been done recently, but we do get the occasional requests to do that, and often that piggybacks an additional request to create a topic or a topic page that drives that content with that new taxonomy item. So if we look at, for example, on the script website, you can see these are the hot topics that we've created, hot topic pages, and they use that taxonomy item to drive the content that appears there. So if I click on U.S. election, you can see all of the items that have been tagged U.S. election appear here automatically based on the topic page that we created for them. I wouldn't expect you to necessarily set up a topic page, at least early on in the process, but there may come a time where you may be requested to do that, and we can go over the process, but we do have it documented in our Confluence wiki on setting up topic pages. I believe, where is it? I think it's actually on our operations site now that I think about it, because we don't necessarily want editorial creating a topic page, but pretty much the support team would handle that. And then we allow the editorial team to go in and update the manually curated areas. Those are those featured areas. So an editor can go in and update this by selecting a new article to appear here. But in terms of creating these pages or making changes to the latest news component and things of that nature, we pretty much limit that to the support team to handle. We don't want editorial going in here and sort of playing with these areas, because it could create some problems. So we do have a section on the operations site on how to add a topic page. We even have a video demo on how to do it. And again, this is based on the feedback that we get from the managing editor in terms of how they want this to look and be laid out. And then we go in and we update it, we create a topic page, we send it to them for them to preview, and then they sign off on it, and then we start adding it to the menus and what have you. But again, these requests, on average, since launch, we've created some of these pages. I'd say maybe a half dozen or so. So again, they're not what I would consider a common request, but they do occur every so often. So that pretty much covers taxonomy. Do you have any questions regarding that?
No questions for now.
Okay. Okay, so for the next item, uploading podcasts. All right, again, this is something that happens, I'd say on average, we probably get about 2 or 3 podcast requests to upload a week. For our podcast hosting, we use SoundCloud, and we have an account that we manage under SoundCloud. Again, This is something that we don't allow the editors necessarily to upload. We take the requests and we do it ourselves. Typically what we receive from the editor, in addition to the MP3 that they've recorded, they usually send us the title of the podcast, any keyword tagging, which boosts search relevancy, as well as a summary of the podcast. We have artwork, and typically I'm the one that edits the artwork for this. I use Photoshop for that, but in the event of if they need something urgently uploaded, the artwork itself is sort of secondary. By default, it would use the default logo in its place. So if they needed to get something rushed and uploaded, we can live with that and then upload the artwork at a later date, or we could request the design team to whip something up. So again, we can provide you with the credentials for our SoundCloud account, but typically you go to the upload page. It's pretty straightforward. You select the file to upload, typically the MP3 that they've sent you. I've already got one on my desktop. You click open. I'll delete this when I'm done. Add the image or artwork. If not, leave it blank. Enter the title. For the genre, we select business. This is where we add the tags that are provided by editorial. They're typically comma separated, so it's just cut and paste. The description, and then save. And then once we're done with that, yeah, we want to stop the upload. Good. Once we're done with that, when the podcast is uploaded and the audio has been converted, you typically just navigate directly to the podcast itself, and we grab the embed code to send back to the editor for them to insert into their article. So if you go, like for example, the last one we uploaded was the Device Week podcast on Friday. If you click on, I believe it's the share button, and go to embed, and what we send them back is typically the middle one. It's the one that is sort of the, I guess, mid-sized embed, and we just grab this iframe code, copy it, and paste it into the email reply back to the editor, and then they can take this and insert it into their article, and they're good to go. So the Device Week is a recurring one. The MedTech Insight team typically produce this on every Friday. But again, we do get one-off requests for ones when they've done interviews or they're at conferences and they've done a podcast. And again, it's a pretty straightforward process. And again, we can provide you the access credentials to access SoundCloud and handle these requests. On a bit less common request is handling video embedding, which we use YouTube for, and in some cases Vimeo. Again, these requests are on the less common side. But we can certainly provide you with credentials for YouTube. But again, this is something that I wouldn't expect you to handle all that often. We don't, and I'm sure one of the folks on our team can handle that. But if the event does come up and the request does come up, we do have documentation available on embedding within YouTube, and we have an account that we share that we use for that. And again, those credentials I can provide you offline after this call. And again, it's pretty much uploading it and then providing the embed code. But we have documentation that we can provide you for that process as well. Any questions?
No, looks clear too.
Okay.
In general, uploading video to YouTube is quite simple. We just need to know which information we need to provide or request from editors.
Yeah, and it's the same.
And that's all.
It's typically the same thing. We request a title, we request keywords, as well as a summary. And again, it's pretty much the same process as SoundCloud. And then we send them back the embed code. And typically for YouTube, since our site is responsive, we usually use the default responsive code that um, that YouTube provides. But again, we have this documented fairly well on the documentation site. So it's just a matter of accessing our account in order to upload the video file. And again, that's pretty much it. And those requests, I would say, on average, a couple a month, maybe, if that. They're not. Our editors don't do a lot with video, but certainly do a lot more with audio, with podcasting and that sort of thing. Okay, the next point we had was search assistance. So this comes up quite a bit, and this is more engaging with the commercial team. And what we're hoping is with the release that we have coming up on this Thursday, that a lot of the issues that our customer base has run into regarding search will be mitigated for the most part. We've allocated support and development resources to a project that revolves around improving the search engine on the front end. So a lot of times, a lot of the issues we've been dealing with revolve around search relevancy, creating a custom or running a custom search and then saving those search results to an email alert. But just to give you an example, if I run a blank search on our website, we should get somewhere in the neighborhood of, over 300,000 results. The way the search engine works is it uses facets that, as I mentioned before, you can filter your search results based on topic, industry, therapy area, device-specific areas, as well as regions or even adding specific companies. And what our customers use this for is if they wanted to build a custom email alert or an RSS feed. So just really quick, if I wanted to only receive an email alert for content that was published for in vivo that was specific to business strategies, I can see that I filtered my results down to 1,500 or so. And then going forward, if I wanted to save this as an alert, so anything else that fell under this category that was published going forward, I would receive an email alert when that content has been published. And those email alerts go out on a 24-hour cycle. So once a day, if there's anything that's published, I would get an email in my inbox showing me the content that was produced that fell under that criteria. So if I just click on Save Search and Alert, I can give it a specific title. So I can call this In Vivo Business Strategies and check that I want to receive this as an email alert for this search and click Save. So then if I go to my account and click on Save Searches and Alerts, at the top of my list is my In Vivo Business Strategies alert that I just saved. I can even choose to remove it, the email portion of it, yet I still have it saved as a search. So if I wanted to go and just see what was published, I can click on this link, and again, it automatically populates that search query, and I can go back and see exactly what's been produced recently. In addition, I could save it or create an RSS feed, which again, it opens it up. It basically, you just grab the link, and in this case, I'm using Chrome, which I have a built-on feed aggregator, but For most other people, if they're using a browser, Firefox or Internet Explorer is usually the best option, or they can use Outlook to subscribe to their RSS feeds or whatever RSS tool they choose to use themselves. So again, we may get questions about search functionality, why they're not getting the results that they expect to be getting. Some of the issues that we've had with the search faceting is how the facets work within themselves. So what we're doing with this latest search release and project is initiating or functionality or search logic within the facets and functionality or between the facets. So for example, if I were to select both business strategies and strategy, you'll see that the results are filtered down to 616. That's not what our customers want. What they want to see is when they select business strategies and strategy, that it combines these two search terms to give you anything that's been tagged business strategy or strategy. So the results actually should increase. So on Thursday, when we release this fix, that functionality will change. Another big problem that our customers have run into is the use of what we call literals or quoted searches. Oftentimes when you use Google and you're searching for a specific phrase or series of words, usually encapsulate those in quotes or double quotes. That's currently not functional on our search engine. What our search engine is using now is what we call stemming, which is basically a word or root of a word. So, you know, if you were to search for, what's a good example of stemming? So like divest. If you were to search for the word divest, it would bring up results where there's divest, divesting, divested, divestiture, and that it can be helpful, but again, the results are going to be a lot broader than what necessarily our customers are looking for. So by at least employing literals and wildcards, in addition to stemming, we're giving our customers more options to fine-tune their search results and get the content that they're looking for. And we're going to be updating, the product management team is going to be updating a lot of the search tips, and in fact, we're going to be adding, so we have search tips here. These are going to be updated and streamlined, we hope, by our product management team post-release this Thursday. But in addition, we're going to be providing landing pages. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. That run through the enhancements that we're doing for the search engine. And they'll provide this to our customers as a part of our email newsletters and other communications to let them know that we're adding these features to improve the search functionality. So again, you know, we have questions. Sometimes their saved search may not be producing the kind of results that they want when they get their email alerts. So we may look into that in terms of how they built their search query and get confirmation along those lines. But again, it's typically these queries come in when the customer service team has some technical questions that they just simply don't have the answers to. So we may need to step in and investigate a little bit further and see what might be going on with their account. But again, we're hoping that some of these questions and issues will be mitigated somewhat with the search project that we're going to launch this Thursday, and hopefully we'll see less of those issues come across. But again, you know, those are the types of things that we may come into contact with and may have to handle from a support perspective. So I know we're out of time. I've got another call at 10. So we got through those 3 items. There's still remaining 3. I think multimedia and data we've touched upon several times, so we could probably recap that a little bit and at least go over from a broad sense of all the tools that we currently support. And then you've got Jira, which we can talk about as well. We need to, once we migrate over to the Jira cloud instance, we should have better control over setting up accounts for you guys so that when an issue comes in that's a bug or something along those lines, we can go over Jira and how to create an issue ticket within the relevant project or support queue for Jira. And that is basically how we log issues for our development team to handle and then work on a fix for the platform going forward. So we can talk about that on the next call, as well as go over the New Star monitoring and New Relic monitoring, which we're currently in the process of setting up for the platform as we transition from one development partner, Valir, to our new development team, which is with Sapient. So we can cover monitoring as well. And I think we should be able to get through that relatively quickly. I can see if I can schedule another call later on this week so we can at least go over those items. If that works for everyone, I can see if I can find a time later on in the week to accommodate everyone, if that works. So I know we're out of time. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email or email webpubs, and one of us will answer them. But at least I'll have this recording, and we can post it to Box or somewhere so that you guys can review it going forward.
Okay, I will also send you a little update from our side about our activities today a bit later. So we can discuss something before next call by email. That would be fine.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, everyone. And then, just let me know if you have any questions after the call, and send me an email, and we'll and I'll get this recording set up for you guys. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.